Hey everyone, Diana here today with Distress Inks, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how to use them. They're extremely versatile, and I like to use them in many different ways. I took the time, I've gotten a few more over the past few weeks, and as you might have noticed, I've been doing a huge organizational project in my studio. And one of the things I'm doing is putting palettes actually together instead of strewn all over the place. So I never did palette out my distress inks. So I took the time to sit down with a stamp and sort of group them into colors, warm and cool colors and reds, and see what I've got so that I don't overbuy. And I did want to mention a couple things. These reds are nice. They're different. The fired brick is definitely a grungier red. Sorry, you can't see that. Then the barn door. I'd like to find a clearer red. These colors are fabulous. The wild honey and the mustard seed, with enough difference between the two. I'm looking at the spiced marmalade and wild honey and saying, maybe I could have just gone with the spiced marmalade. And I'm definitely looking at the spun sugar and worn lipstick. And even though that's not a great print there, they're very similar. I don't know that anyone needs to have both of those colors. Going back over here to the green page. Oops, I forgot to put those in. But they're all really different. I could probably say it's like shabby shutters, bundled sage, crushed olive, and this is peeled paint. So yeah, this is one of the things I do. I'm not naturally organized. And then this last page is sort of the very neutral colors. The walnut stain and the vintage photo are nice browns. They're all different browns and they're all nice. I have walnut stain, vintage photo, frayed burlap. I want to say that the walnut stain and the vintage photo are their color. The color on the container is not very similar. You can see that this color, this frayed burlap, and this damp ink is really a close match. The walnut stain cover, however, looks much like the vintage photo. And I'd say that the vintage photo cover looks very much like the walnut stain. So those two are kind of reversed. Here it is right here. Here's the vintage photo, and it's kind of a more gray, cooler brown than what's actually the ink is. So just a heads up to, carefully consider the colors you're buying. And they're having a whole lot of new colors come out, and look at them carefully before you do buy them. So they're beautiful colors, however, and they're extremely versatile. You can do a lot of interesting techniques using them as watercolor paints and in other ways. And one of the things I'm seeing out there right now is some ombre stamping, and I thought, gee, I wonder if I can do something like that. So I grabbed this simple flower stamp, and again, this is a great time to come to your palettes and take a look. I thought, okay, I'm going to grab the picked raspberry, the abandoned coral, and the mustard seed for a yellow. Most of these colors blend beautifully together, which is a good reason to love Distress Inks. And so this is just a little thing that I tried the other day. I'm still practicing with it. It takes a little practice. You can sort of see what I'm doing. I'm using 3 different colors, and it's giving me a nice variation within the stamp, so it's not a solid stamp. This green one is, I think, let me see, is really nice. I love the way some of these are coming out. They're more painterly. You can easily do these with watercolor markers as well. But I just wanted to show you really quick what I am doing. And I'm starting with the mustard seed and tap, tap, tapping. Tap, tap, tap. Doing a pretty good tapping job here. And then I'm grabbing either a distress tool. I like these round mini distress tools much better. Or I also use sometimes a cosmetic wedge, plain or mounted. You know, depends on where my manicure is. And then I'm going to tap into, in this case, I grabbed the abandoned coral, and I'm just going to tap around the edge and up a little bit. The thing I like about this is that you're never quite sure exactly what's going to happen. So if you're not the kind of person, if you don't like surprises, stamp it on another sheet of paper and then you can trim it out. But I kind of like surprises, and I know I can always do something with a pen or a marker to clean anything up if I didn't like exactly what happened. So let's see what happens with this one. See if it's a good surprise. It's on camera, so it's probably not going to be. Actually, I like that. It's very subtle. You can only barely see it, but to me it adds enough interest to just take a stamp into the next place. Here I tried an ombre. I don't think this is the right stamp to do an ombre, but as you can see, it worked really nicely. I just went all over the stamp with the lightest color, tap, tap, tapping again, and then took the mini thing and came up from the bottom with a lighter color. So you might try that too. Ombre stamps pads are on the market now, and I sure am not going to buy ombre stamp pads, but you might want to. And that's perfectly fine. But if you'd like to be able to stretch your distress inks, I'm sure that ombre thing, either of these techniques would work beautifully with any other stamp pad. And I'll practice a little bit and come back and see, and let me know how your practicing goes. See you soon. Inky thumbs up. Bye, everyone.